So I'm really excited to share what I have, and then how the software architecture in terms of Power Platform and Azure OpenAI can work together, and you get some amazing thing. I have no much demo here, but some kind of use cases, and those use cases how you can actually intertwine with Power Platform and Azure OpenAI, right? So that is something we'll talk about today, right? So again, thanks to Steven, he mentioned that I'm working from many years from in Microsoft partner, and Microsoft so is pretty good to work there. So, yeah, so that is something. So we'll talk about how we can get ahead of the future-proof your business applications with Power Platform and Azure OpenAI. Now everyone is talking about Azure OpenAI and all, but how we can integrate and have many customers talking about how they can use Power Platform with Azure OpenAI. I have to give some kind of caveat because not everything will work because of the depend on the regions, but I will give some inputs what I have for you. Now, what we will talk about is quite simple about the Azure OpenAI service and difference between Azure OpenAI and OpenAI, right? They are two different entities, although Microsoft have bought a lot of good services with OpenAI, which is um, a small company. Now they have using all the services of Azure OpenAI, and main differences and why we as Microsoft people we use OpenAI as a slightly more stronger way to use as enterprise applications, right? How we can use it. Then we also talk about how the Power Platform we can utilize for Azure OpenAI, right? So this is something we will talk about, and then we see some patterns, right? How which use cases and which particular application you can work with the Power Platform. So you at least have an idea. Again, in 35 minutes, it's very difficult to show everything, but I ensure that at least you have some beginner into information about the architecture design and how the Power Platform and Azure OpenAI work together as cohesive applications. Okay, again, some resources I will share towards the end. And again, I will share all the things slide deck to Simon, and he will share with you on that later on, right? Now, first thing is about Azure, not OpenAI, Azure AI, right? And Azure AI is like that for many, many years. And what is we are trying to do as a Microsoft employee, and also for the all the end users and the customers, that we are to try to have three different clouds, right? We have Market 365, we have Azure, and 365 on Dynamics, right? So these are the three clouds we work together, and the applications. So applications can work together as your Power Platform or some third-party applications if you want to integrate as a partner solution, right? Now, what happens is that many customers or the other customers, they want to have integrate just not as a low code, but also part of the third-party applications, or maybe they want to integrate with Azure. Obviously, with Azure AI, we can integrate. So we can use the low-code solution with your bot services, with cognitive search, with a form recognizer, or with any third-party application you can integrate. So sky is the limit for that. And also, as a developer, you can integrate with many applications. Entire service we have cognitive services, we have custom vision, we have language things, everything we can integrate. But what is new again? What is new is Azure OpenAI, which we are talking about today, right? And now, what we having in last couple of years, maybe this year as well, that we have a lot of uncertainty, right? Lot of changes happening. We have wars happening, and then a lot of inflation. So what we happening that as a normal user, not as a company, a normal user have to think about the cost, right? So inflation pricing process very big thing for normal people, right? Geopolitics about the what's happening and supply chain is actually affecting everyone in the world, right? And the third thing, which is everyone right now, is shortages. So we're having lot of challenges at this point of time, and how the Azure and AI can help you, right? So what I would want to show you that many customers now I have these samples to you that many companies like E&Y, PepsiCo, Progressive, they are using a lot of services for their own customers. Example, they are using a manual processing previously, E&Y for one of the very big large customer in Europe, and with it, not Azure OpenAI, but Azure AI, they're saving a lot of money, right? So cost is a very big factor. Second is a PepsiCo. Everyone knows about PepsiCo, and they have lot of models. They have a lot of data scientists, and having those kind of Azure AI cases, they actually speed it up using with their new models, right? With a lot of new changes there in the algorithms. Progressive is another company which is using chatbots. Now, chatbot is there everywhere, so they're saving money for 10 million. There are many other use cases I'm talking about, but this is the thing which people know what's happening in the world, right? They have more cases I can share with you, but these are some few samples. Now, one thing which we have to take note is that um, Azure AI, how can work together, right? So what I have to share with you, Azure OpenAI can work with your ChatGPT at human-like language generation. We can have Dolly for image generation. We can have Codex. We can have a code generation and ChatGPT, which everyone knows what's there, right? So if you are under the rock, you don't know. So again, OpenAI is something which everyone is talking about, right? Now, what I want to share about that OpenAI is, again, my entire talk about OpenAI and Power Platform. So how OpenAI is actually revolutionizing all the customers, just not in Asia, but all across the globe, right? So we are talking about the Copilot services. We're talking about if you seen in LinkedIn, if you write a chat messages, it create content, right? So it will help you to write your messages, right? I actually write 2 weeks back, I was talking to someone, and then it gave me all the content. This amazing thing which I've seen. So try these things. Now, what Microsoft is trying to do is trying to integrate the OpenAI, which is a startup, and to integrate with all your Microsoft services, whether it's a Power Platform, whether it's your Dynamics, whether it's your Copilot, everything is there, right? So what we are trying to achieve is that all the people who have no knowledge, they can also build the applications by not writing any single line of code. That is the thing which we are trying to achieve. Whether it's modern work, whether it's a data and AI, everything can work together. Again, people who have no knowledge, they can also write the applications. Okay. Now, one thing which I have always get this question from many customers and also from community people is that, Aro, what is the difference between Azure OpenAI and OpenAI? Differences. So again, you see this. Take a slide. You can take a photo, but I will share the slide deck to you. But lot of major factors. There are a lot of other differences, but one major thing is security, right? Your security is here. Now, what happens is that when you use OpenAI, ChatGPT dot Google, I'm sorry, ChatGPT and OpenAI.com, it is free for you, right? Now, why it's free? Because if people want to use it and all, but if you want to use enterprise, obviously it's not that safe, right? So it has its own controls, security controls. But when you use the OpenAI, Azure OpenAI, you always have all the goodness of security from Azure, right? So that is something which is we are very boast of, that all the security coming from Microsoft 365 Dynamics is coming from there as well, right? So if you want to have secured an application, try to use OpenAI, right? That is something which I always see. Uh, Other service when talking about the integration, right? Now, OpenAI have nothing about, they never share about the integration and about the security, right? So there's nothing mentioned than that. But when you use Azure, obviously we can have our own VNet, our own firewall, and we can restrict the IP addresses, right? This is not available in OpenAI. I mean the normal OpenAI, right? And the third, again, there are many features, but thing which is why I will always share is that everyone can access the OpenAI, right? Although you can pay the paid content, right, which is like a cost there, but when you use your models, whether it's a Da Vinci or Dolly, you always have to create an application, and then using the application you can build that application with any app service, whether it's Azure services or Power Apps. So you have to create a service, so you have an account for that. So these are the things which are something which is we are very proud. The one thing which we are working on is about the number of regions, right? Now, right now we have use cases regions which is Western and Eastern America. Now, and just in this month July, we have released Asia, so you can create other OpenAI services in Asia data centers, right, regions. So something which we have a very expanding our footprint in Asia. Okay. Now that is everything about Azure OpenAI. Let's talk about the low code, right? Now, one thing which we have always seen is that we were having a lot of challenges in many in just in few years. The problem is that we will have a shortage of the users, right? Yeah, so we always have a developer shortage, right? And creating a new applications always take time, right? So and compliance is again a big issue. So what we have seen from the, again, it's not from Microsoft, it is coming from the this Forrester and the things, that we need around 750 million applications in next 3 years. And obviously we can have so many developers, right? I'm talking about the hardcore developers who write C# code, Node.js. And that's why Microsoft is focusing completely for low code, no code, which means all the users can create their own applications without writing single line of code. That's some, yeah, I'm very want to share with that, right? And 70% will be created by the enterprise, right? Many people said RO is a Power Platform is for only for low code. Is it designed for enterprise? The answer is yes. It could be complex because there are few lot of nitty-gritty thing will be there. But the answer is, if you want to integrate your Power Platform with enterprise applications, the answer is yes, you can. But you have to think about some use cases for that, right? And I will talk about use cases there. But one thing which we are very proud of, that we are number one in terms of the low code, right? There, again, we have a system like OutSystem, Mandex and all, but we are number one in terms of the usage. And the 33 million users are there. Every month we have these millions of users, which shows things that many people are using Power Platform. We're not telling about the third-party applications like I mentioned here, but the usage and the resource which Microsoft provides is massive, right? And we have around 97% of the people are using Fortune 500 people are using 97% of this thing. So 500 Fortune 500 people, 500 companies are using 97% of this, which means that many people are using the Power Platform. Now it could be low scales or could be enterprise. So it could be that number is not there, but you see the value that why we are pushing for low code, because many applications can be done by the business users. Okay, and that is, we are leader for that. So just want to share about this thing. Now let's talk about some use cases, right? I just want to give some resources later on, but let's talk about actual use cases which many customers are utilizing. So there's one German company called as Starbuck, and in the construction field, if you make a small pillar or something, and then you're not careful, then you have a huge cost for that, right? So what this company is doing, that using AI model, right? And they're talking about the risk management solutions. So anything which is a construction companies or hospitals, schools, are we on the, if the land is okay or not? So they have lot of algorithm, and they are using with Azure OpenAI services. And what the best thing about that is that within 3 months, they are predicting around 80% accuracy. That is a beauty of OpenAI. Okay, something which is really really good. That you see the accuracy is too much, and again we are always improving the AI models there. Okay, the Carmax is a very big company in US, and there are a lot of research they do, and what they're trying to do is that they want to utilize the OpenAI services. So just like ChatGPT, if ask some question about a specific car and about all its features and all, it will take a lot of time. But if you just type a particular car and about all these features, just within few seconds, it will give you all the things, whether it's the mileage is there and how much the value after you sell the car. Everything can be done within few seconds as a text summary. So all the research will come within few seconds. And that is the beauty of, again, I'm talking about different use cases. One use case is about construction. Now we're talking about retail, about automobile services, right? So this is something which we are integrating these services with large customers, right? Then third one is another is a very big company which is called as Trelent, and they're using a lot of algorithms, right? There are a lot of data scientists, and the main thing for them is to have a data security and the resiliency. The data should be within that region, not outside, right? So here, what they're trying to do is that they want to have that data integrity features for their own enterprise customers, right? So the trial is actually migrating these solutions with their own cloud services. They're using some other cloud, and because that cloud doesn't have that service, and they are migrating that solutions to Azure OpenAI. So I don't say the name of the other cloud service, but they're using Azure OpenAI. That is the thing we are actually trying to engulf with a lot of AI services from other third-party applications. So migration is something which is a very very crucial, right? Something like that. And the last use case again that is a very big oil field in America, and what they want to do for their own use cases in the public side and also in their internal side, they want to create some chatbots, and they are using something called as cognitive services. Okay, so these are the use cases, and what they, after integration and have some research and some design, what they actually designed is that they want to have OpenAI service to train their chatbots. What chatbots? Maybe their internal services. Okay, maybe they want to have some kind of oil rich, how much oil is coming through, so those kind of services they're doing. Second thing is about, or they have public website as well. They want to integrate Q&A with that service as well, right? So public and also internal, they want to do that. So using that particular method only for a few months, they're able to have huge time savings rather than having a human person always entering the chatbot features or entering these things with some other third-party applications. They have wasting their time. But now with even OpenAI service, they're using that lot of services with few seconds. So again, I'm talking about some scenarios, some kind of use cases which make sense if you are trying to use the OpenAI services with Azure or with Power Platform. Okay. Okay, now we talk about some architecture designs, right? Now I talk about there are a couple of services we can integrate. The first one is obviously a document process automation service, right? This is a very large customer we are talking about. It's again in US, and they have a lot of services, and it's again it's an oil and gas company there, and they have a lot of documents, right? So documents from different vendors about different companies, different countries they also have. So they are using some document generation, right? And form recognizer, right? This is the Azure service, right? Form recognizer. Now, what's happening is that they earlier there was no OpenAI service, so they were using always using Azure Functions and Cosmos DB because their content is huge, right? And they found that the service is not that straight, and there's no content generation is not happening that frequently. So what they did, they created a new service, and they called it Azure Open Service. They use Azure function, and the data is coming from your Cosmos DB, right? So all the prompts, so somebody asked some questions about a PDF document or something that says, can you create a document from that year, generating the quality matter for a specific company. Now, having that kind of thing content is very tedious, but now thanks to OpenAI, we just type something and then it will generate the content for you. Now it could be your text analyzer, could be your face recognition, could be anything else, right? So that's why this is one of the design patterns I'm talking about. And if you feel that if the data has to be shown as a web applications for your end users, obviously you can do. So this is for consumers, and this is for your backend systems. Okay, this is for consumers. So this is some design pattern which we can use, integrate with Azure services with your OpenAI, right? The second use case, again a design pattern is using the caller. This is American, sorry, it's a European company where they want to have a very large telecom in Europe, and what they want to do is they want to have um, some text translations, right? Because they have Polish, they have French and all. So that thing is not working that seamlessly. About voice calls is not that clear. So they have some kind of call center. Now this line is not very clear, but we always have a call center. We always have a storage there. So the main challenge which they're facing is that if somebody have voice call, the voice call is not very clear because of they're using some service, the speech to text is not working fine for them. So what they did, they tried to integrate Azure OpenAI service, and then found that after few again we have to train for that. After a few trainings, they found that it's much easier to have this kind of contact center and speech recognition center, which giving a lot of transcripts. So again, think about just not a telephone, but all think about a large enterprise customer where they have a video call and the transcript, and they want to generate. So previous method didn't work for them, so thereby they integrate Azure OpenAI service. Okay, and this system actually stored into their CRM system. So this is again few of the use cases where OpenAI can work together with Azure, or could be your third-party application. Maybe you have your own custom website and you want to integrate. The answer is yes, you can integrate with this. So this is one of the architecture design which we can utilize. Okay. Now, one thing which I have again last geared towards the Power Platform. Now, I have a lot of customers. We keep asking that Aro, we have lot of customers, and we want to integrate the PVA, the Power Virtual Agents, but not using the public sites. But we want to have our own internal. I have one very large customer, is an insurance customer, and then want to have their own data, and they want to see how it works for them and all. So what we did with partners, that we use Power Automate to fetch the information, and we integrate with the Azure OpenAI service. Right now, Azure OpenAI service won't work till you have your Cognate services working as well. Now, I can give more details, but again, to save time, that if you want to have more questions, ping me. I will share my LinkedIn. Ask me questions. I can share more knowledge on that. But just that this customer want to have their own data in Azure, and the main question is that using a PVA, a chatbot, the question can be asked by the storage, and then Cognate search. Think about a medical. This is a medical company where they want to have all the data about questions and all, and they use Cognate services, Cognate search, and then using a prompt engineering, they're fetching the questions, and the user can actually ask the questions. Then again, as a ChatGPT kind of functions, it worked for them, right? So again, this is some use cases which Power Platform, and as a your Azure developer, as an AI developer, you can integrate. Okay, and I have a repo link with that, and Simon will share that link with you later on this. Okay. Now, before I proceed, I want to share something very, very important topic, which is called a learning thing, right? Now, Power Platform, a lot of people know. Azure OpenAI, maybe a lot of people don't know, right? So I'm going to share some learning material with you, and you can access those things in Microsoft Learn. And also there are a lot of videos which are there with that, right? The first thing first is about Microsoft Learn, right? So I hope everyone knows what is Microsoft Learn, and you can use just not for Power Platform, you can use for Azure, you can use for your Dynamics, you can use for data and AI, everything you can in that link you can see, right? And it can go for from beginner to expert. That I'm going to share with you. Then for the Power Platform specifically, we have many certifications. If you are started with the Power Platform as a beginner, I will highly recommend to use PL 900. Then you can go for associate levels and then go for PL. Okay, this is a typo. PL 600. So it give you slightly more understanding about how the Power Platform can work. Now, if you are new to Power Platform, please take time. Don't rush. And these questions and these exams are not that difficult. Are quite difficult. So be take your time, read things, go watch videos, practice some papers, online papers, and then if you're not an MCT, the exam cost will be quite high. So please save time, invest in your learning, and then write exams. I have seen many people they fail the exam because they didn't have prepared. Take some time for that. Okay. Second is something called as for Azure, right? So again, what we will mostly I will highly recommend. So this resources which is called is in your screen, is that how we can work on the Azure AI, right? So learning Azure AI, anomaly detector, how to use cognitive services, how the API works, and also lot of things are there inside. Okay. So that is my things. I have some time, Simon. Few minutes more. Simon, can you hear me?
Yeah, you got 10 minutes, Aro.
Yeah.
You got 10 minutes.
Yeah, I got 10 minutes. Awesome, awesome. Yeah. So I want to share something with this. Um, okay. So I'm going to share some other few minutes. I just want to get the knowledge about how things works. There's one course, Azure Open AI. Yeah. And I will share this link with you as well. You can have a look on this, and yeah. Okay, so this is the one course I have completed this thing, and I found this is one of the very amazing course. And I will here I can share this link, right? Uh, okay, yeah, there's something which I always go for this thing. Obviously, you can go for Microsoft Learn, but I have a habit of learning and as a practice. So what I do, I always create samples. I use some samples, and then I try to practice using that particular models, right? So something which I go for. And if you want to learn about OpenAI's, it is, yeah. So this is the another very good module. There are lot of content there where you can understand how thing works. They have some couple of videos as well. Try to see this thing because it will make life easy if you are new to Power Platform or to OpenAI. Okay. Okay. So that is something about OpenAI. But if you want to have more understanding, I will highly recommend go to there are lot of videos which I will share with you. Right, you see these are the videos that which people coming through, and they are keep adding things again from Azure. A lot of features about how to integrate your own data with the OpenAI. So a lot of content is there, so you just search for OpenAI. A lot of good content are coming through, and I'm always appreciate the people who are contributing and sharing the knowledge with this, right? I'm actually going to run 3 day sorry 3 sessions on OpenAI, part one, part two, part three, in next 2 3 months. And if you are interested, you just buzz me. I will actually share the links with you later on. So I'm starting from next month onwards. But if you want to have no more knowledge, go for this resources which I shared with you. Right?